news with their teams this year. Carolina now has Dante Moncrief expected to play. Kareem Hunt off suspension and in the lineup for the Cleveland Browns. Josh Gordon, former Patriot, former Brown, now a Seattle Seahawk. And Ryan Finley is your new starting quarterback for the winless Cincinnati Bengals. Let's pick out a couple of the big names in this one right now and talk about them. Josh Gordon goes from playing with Tom Brady to playing with Russell Wilson, who leads the league in touchdown passes. What should we expect for Josh out of the gate?
I mean, you should, number one, fresh off the bus, to stop the Seattle Seahawks, you got to put 8 men in the box and stop that run. And not just Chris Carson, it's Russell Wilson, too. And that's why when he's able to get outside the pocket, he gives the receiver 6-7 seconds to get open. And not only that, it's one-on-one coverage on the outside. You have a big body that can run in Metcalf, and then you get another big body that can run in Gordon. He's going to see a lot of one-on-one coverage. He's going to come in there. Russell's going to escape out the pocket, and he's going to have a lot of one-on-one opportunities to go up and make big boy catches. And if he breaks one tackle, he can turn these 3 catches into 100 yards playing with Russell Wilson just because it's one guy missing, you're down the field. So I expect very big things from him in this offense just because of what Russell Wilson presents and what Russell Wilson can do outside that pocket.
Doesn't even have to be the number 2 guy, probably a 3, because Tyler Lockett is playing like a top 5 wide receiver so far this year. Yes, let's talk about Kareem Hunt and the Cleveland Browns. We've seen Kareem Hunt be a star running back, but Nick Chubb is there and is really, really solid right now. What type of a role do you think early for Kareem?
Well, that's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
And you talk about a 2-headed monster now in the backfield. I think the biggest difference with Kareem Hunt in the backfield now is last year he had 26 receptions for almost 400 yards. But guess what? In 11 games, he had 7 receiving touchdowns, which means you got another threat at the receiver position like you need another one, but you do. You have a guy out of the backfield that you can match up with the linebackers, with certain safeties, and where you can get really creative with. If you go 2 backs, you can use him as a receiver as well. So I'm really interested in what Freddie Kitchens is going to do creativity-wise with the game plan going forward. He's going to have to give some different looks. He's going to have to mix it up formations with the formations and personnel groups. Make teams figure it out. Don't make it so easy. You have so many weapons on the offensive side of the ball. It's going to be interesting to see how he uses all those.
Browns need an offensive injection. One more loss for them, and it's pretty much a lost season for Cleveland. Lindsay?
Another game that is coming up this weekend, it is Bengals and Ravens, and we're going to get a chance to see our 6th different rookie quarterback start a game. It is Ryan Finley. Who is Ryan Finley? Well, he was Cincinnati's 4th-round pick out of NC State last spring. He impressed in the preseason. Very good, 73.4 completion percentage. And he's going up against a Ravens pass defense that ranks 26th in the league in that particular category. Now, so far this season, that wouldn't mean much for the Bengals because their offense has been that bad. That's why they're making the change to Ryan Finley. Will he be able to run that offense more effectively?
Let's start with the positive first, Lindsay.
Oh, okay.
He played really well in the preseason. He has great anticipation. That's what you'll notice. It'll jump off the page. He throws well, intermediate routes. Very accurate football player. Has a great feel for where to go with it. The problem is they don't have a ton of help in Cincinnati, which is pretty obvious. They haven't really gotten the run game going. Joe Mixon's kind of frustrated, and I can understand why. He's had really 28, 30 carries in the last 2 games combined. Dalvin Cook, when they played him, he had 7 carries in the first drive. So they got to get the running game going a little bit, and I don't know if it's a product if they can't because they can't, or they won't because they just don't want to. So they got to figure it out. Zach Taylor's got to figure it out, but this kid can help. I'm not saying he's a huge upgrade from Andy Dalton. We don't know. But what he showed so far is there is some hope that he could be a good player for.
Is he the same kind of quarterback, but we're hoping that he just plays better, or what?
I think that in the little bit of film that I've seen, the anticipation thing is kind of above average. It's really something that you can kind of hang your hat on. A guy that we have here at our network, Kurt Warner, was one of the greatest anticipatory throwers I've ever been around. He's similar to Kurt as far as when he lets the ball go on routes, even with not a lot of practice with some of these guys. So that's a really good sign. So if he gets time to develop with some of these guys, that might be a good thing for them. They just need a lot of help around him.
Well, as we already heard, James Jones is feeling very optimistic about Cincinnati's chances this week. Bengals looking for their first win. But Week 10 does feature 3 games between teams that both have winning records. They're seen here. For more on the Sunday night football game between the Vikings and Cowboys, we've got Brian Billick with another installment of Playbook.
Last week on Playbook, we talked about the Dallas Cowboys using their big people to gain an advantage in a physical game. And they must have been listening because they ran for 171 yards against the New York Giants. Well, this week they're going to play the Minnesota Vikings, who are wholly committed, more so than any team in the NFL, to 2 tight ends, 2 backs, 3 tight ends, big people in their offense. And let me show you what it does for them. They start out with 12 personnel, 2 tight ends and a back. They're going to take Thielen in this bunch set, short motion him, and set up the edge, and he's going to end up blocking to the backside. But watch what these tight ends do getting down the field, using their size and athleticism to allow Cook, the best running back in the league, to get to the outside with the big gash. Now, once they get this, they're going to come back, and they're going to show you the same kind of look, and they're going to get into a bunch route, and you're going to see the same kind of combination. They're in the 3-man combination. They're going to motion back in here. But now, since you've had to stop the run, they're going to run a simple slant, flat combination on the bottom. Why? Because the box has been built to stop the run out of this formation that you just saw. Easy completion to Thielen. Kirk Cousins loves these kind of throw to get nice big plays out of simple throws. Now we're going to come back same way. Now you can see now this is a 3 tight end. We've got a lot of big people in here with Rudolph and Smith and Conklin. He motions back the exact same way. And now we get a progression down the field. You're going to see Smith getting in behind it. And so you can see what they're doing like we see so many times. They're using their big people to set up the run, then breaking out of it and getting passes down the field. This is going to be a fascinating game between Minnesota and Dallas to see who wants to stay bigger, longer, and more physical.